for today.
Thank you so much. You're not looking bad either.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. How was your week?
My week was great. How was yours?
Well, bless God, bless God. Enjoying our days as they come. And then the truth is the week was a bit tough for me because a friend of mine was contracted the coronavirus, COVID-19, tested positive to the COVID-19. And so it just hit home like, okay, this is actually real and every one of us should really be careful at such a time as this.
Absolutely, absolutely. I think it's very important to observe the protocols, like we usually say on the program. Wear your face mask when you are going out and keep a distance from people. And if you find out that you are having some symptoms, it's very important for you to reach out for help and for treatment. All right, so as usual, it's going to be a time when we get you acquainted with some of the happenings in Nigeria on the segment Newspaper Review. So we're going to begin with Sunday Punch, and that's what we are going to begin with as usual on the program. So we hope you've been keeping abreast with what is happening in the country, because there's been so much happening, and you've got to really know what's happening in your whole country. Now I'm going to start with Sunday Punch, and it says VAT, more states oppose FIRS, Ogun, Edo, Akwa Ibom consider tax laws. The story is on page 3. Senate caucus backs Lagos, Rivers. FIRS workers fear cuts in salaries. Why is it difficult to agree on VAT collection? NGF source. Well, the story is about VAT. It made the headlines. It made the front page on Sunday Punch.
All right, we'll move over to the Guardian newspaper for Monday, September 13. And it says, 100 days after Twitter ban, uncertainty trails FG's plan. All right, that news has been around anyway. So it says, it's Twitter that is delaying, says presidency source. Economy, biggest casualty as losses eat 246 billion naira. Social enterprise groups meet today to discuss way forward. Stakeholders appeal to government to resolve issues, not kill online community. And then below that you see worry over mass abductions as school resume today. That was last week Monday. So anyways, so that's all we can take for the Guardian for Monday.
Moving on to Tuesday, we have this day newspapers, and it says, Army Chief to War Commanders, I won't accept any more excuses over attacks. Says officers must take initiative, decisive action to defeat threats. Maintains failure is failure, irrespective of circumstances. That story is on page 1 of this day newspapers. And you also have at the top of this day, you have OPEC increases 2022 global oil demand forecast by IMB, 1 MBPD. Cartel's data confirms Nigeria unable to meet August production quota. Group says country's economic recovery constrained by inflation, illiquidity. Right.
All right, we'll move over to Nigerian Tribune for Wednesday, 15th of September. And the main editor says, Buhari seeks approval for fresh $4 billion, and then as well as 710 million pounds loan. President APC selling Nigeria, says PDP. They're about to take another loan. Awesome. The very top there says Gbajabiamila endorses Sanwo-Olu for second term. Abuad ranked best private varsity in research. Southern governor meeting Enugu tomorrow. That's on Wednesday. Oh, that's all we could take for the Tribune.
Daily Sun for Thursday says Nnamdi Kanu, Igbo senators, reps step in. Okay, that's one of the major stories there on the front page of the Daily Sun. It says to interface with federal government on pro-Biafra group's leaders' plight. Condemns sit-at-home order in Southeast. And the major header there says federal government soon lift ban. Okay, that's one of the stories actually on the front page. Federal government soon lift ban on Twitter, says minister. The story is on page 26 rather. And Khan expresses worries over migration of Boko Haram to Kaduna, says it's dangerous, bad omen. Story is on page 3 of Daily Sun. Strike end in sight as doctors agree to sign MOU with federal government. Government NMA adjourn hazard allowance negotiations to next week. They are insensitive, says Ngige. Right, that's from Daily Sun for Thursday.
All right, moving over to today's paper, The Punch for Friday, September 17th. And the main header there says, FG to spend 4.9 billion fresh loans on Kanu, Niger Republic rail line and others. Says a railway will improve trade among Nigeria, Niger, North Africa, says Buhari. Anambra, Benue, Ogun, Taraba farmers, others to benefit from $50 million loan. Wow. National Assembly speedy approval of Buhari loan request worries Ndume. I think we've had that several times. Then at the top of the Punch newspaper, there you see FG woos local investors, opens $3 billion Eurobond borrowing plan. That story is in page 15 as well. And then I see 12 soldiers killed, three gun trucks seized in Borno terror ambush. That story is in page 9. And then it says firms imported 47 million 224.34 MT of gas from US Algeria in August. That's it's from PPPRA. All right, say that's the reason, page 15. And then Southern governors back states collection of VAT, Lord anti-grazing law progress. That story you can find it in page 2 of the Punch newspaper. All right, I think that's all we can take for now.
On the Guardian newspapers, it says, that's for Friday today, it says Southern governors insist on VAT collection 2023 presidency. It says reaffirm commitment to structural fiscal federalism. Appeal court declines to stop FIRS from VAT collection. Reserves ruling on Lagos request to join case on VAT dispute. NECA seeks power to determine agency to remit VAT to. LCCI expresses concern over double taxation on businesses. Port stakeholders align with federal government. Vote for status quo. That story is on page 1 and continues on page 6 of the Guardian newspapers. I think that's all I can take on
all right,
this.
We'll move over to
one.
This Day newspaper for today. This day, it's a new day. Now, the major editor that says Southern governors meet, insist on state collection of VAT. It says reiterate demand for presidency. FIRS opposes FIRS opposes inclusion of Lagos in suit. Appeal court reserves ruling Report: Lagosians back Sanwo-Olu on VAT collection, anti-open grazing law. Right, and then now one beautiful picture there. It's President Muhammadu Buhari, as well as the FIFA president. I think we've seen it in all the papers as well, and it says Buhari gets number 10 jersey from FIFA president. All right, I think that's a good one for sports. All right, I think that's all we can take from.
Okay, so I saw the story where the comparison was made between the decamping, I believe that's what they call it, from Fani Kayode decamped from the popular ex-minister, decamped from PDP to APC. And then I saw something being posted, something that was posted by Reno Omokri. I made a comparison between Shehu Sani. Okay, Shehu Sani, I'm sure he was an member
Senate.
of, yes.
I think it's APC. Is he APC?
It was APC, but left APC, and now he's moved to PDP. So that's been a lot of movement from one party to the other, based on several personal interests, 2023 and the rest of them. So pretty interesting. We've got Fani Kayode, who joins APC. Says Spirit of God led his step.
That's the problem.
The last time he moved to PDP, says Spirit of God led his step.
Okay.
And maybe the Spirit of God has different different works depending on the work he wants. He will just lead you to that party.
I know that. Okay, we'll come back to this shortly, but these guys do not even have us in heart. Honestly, that's what I feel. As far as the politicians are concerned, that's why when I'm concerned about my brothers and sisters, the masses that are so concerned about these parties, because the elites do not care. So that's why you can move, because most of these parties do not have a proper structure. There's nothing that's actually driving them. In America, you do not see people saying, I'm moving from Democrats to this. Why? Because there are certain things and objective that these things are aligned to. But here in Nigeria, it's not like that. It's not like that. And
I'm sure there've been a lot of movements.
And this is Fani Kayode that has been insulting the president. Anyways.
There've been a lot of movements from different parties. There's going to be a lot of interplay of these things between now and 2023. So expect more.
A lot of people will move.
Expect more shocker. We've got Southern Governors Unite on VAT, insist on 2023 presidency. Says states will collect consumption tax. Appeal court reserves ruling on Lagos application to join suit. Okay, that's the major header on the Daily Sun newspaper. IPOB suspends sit at home indefinitely, and it sets up task force to punish those enforcing order. The story is on page 26. Denies involvement in killing of Anglican priests. Daily Sun, Khan accuses Gumi of promoting banditry. And one of the stories, I actually missed it in a previous paper, is the EFCC chair, Bauer, that slumped.
He said he felt dizzy though.
But the papers reported that he slumped, and it's receiving treatment.
Yeah, he says it's back to work anyway.
It's back. So that's what the papers say. So we're glad he recovered.
It's fine, but it's a young man. Anyways,
maybe he's working very hard. Yeah, that's a lot of work to do.
Stressed and so it's understandable. So, all right, sir, get well soon, I guess. Anyways, the problem of this country is not easy. All right, we'll be right back, and stay tuned.
back to Arise Africa. It's time now to go to the virtual street. We want to know what Nigerians are saying on social media. Yes, what is currently happening, what would I say the common man, the average Nigerian is really putting out there for us to know. So.
Yeah, and and this one is a good one and also a sad one. Why? Because Uniben has been closed as students protest new 20,000 naira charge that was added. Now, what happened over the week? I think this week was crazy because even on all social media platforms, the students tried their best to just make sure they cause traffic both online and offline because they blocked every road to the school as well. Why? Because there was an increment. They said it used to be 13,000 for their tuition fee, and now it's now 41,000. Now the VC, that's Mrs. Salami, she now said, if you don't pay your school fees, they are adding late payment now to 61,000 or 62,000 thereabouts. And everybody's asking, okay, yeah, she added 20,000 to that. So it's causing a lot of chaos in the school, and students were just protesting basically. So it was almost quite a while, and it made rounds on social media, you get, and we saw a lot of pictures and all. So those are the things we just see. And I think, I don't know why is it so bad that it's supposed to be a federal university. If this was a private university, I would understand. But a federal university cannot be acting this way. That's what I feel. Although they might have their own investigation, they'll have to give all the stuff.
So, but let's check out what people are saying, what the response, what they're saying on social media. We've got Four-Eyed Edo Boy at Alex, House of 308. It says just 4 weeks into first semester, students never even hustled the initial school fees finish. Then come at 20K, that's 20,000 naira on top as late payment fee. Fair. And there's this picture of the tires, and then people carrying placards. Uniben school fees 13 to 41 to 61K. not be juju with that. Interesting.
It's crazy. And then it says, anyways, most of the stuff we just got pictures, not necessary comments. Says now money where I not get, now make me never pay, and you add more money. Why are you doing this, Comrade Salami? Anyways, for people that are on Twitter, they understand the comrade.
Interestingly, they say 100 level students are expected to pay 89,900 before Friday or lose admission. 200 to 500 level students are to pay between 61,400 and 65,400 respectively, or lose their studentship and all their years in school wasted. I weep for Uniben. I'm ashamed to be a student of the school. Great Uniben, my foot.
Now that's a person that is saddened anyways.
Really?
And seeing this, you find out that there's really a problem. When you think of the current economic situation, you can't be doing this. It's total wickedness, honestly. It is.
But on the other side, on the flip side, education is expensive. You know that there are a lot of things go with running the institutions, and sometimes, a lot of times, case has been made for more government support in this university.
This is actually a federal university.
Some of them are federal universities by name, but not enough support
from the federal system.
Because look at the facilities, look at the equipment, look at what they have. It goes to show you that there's still a lot to be done. Do you understand? In respect to funding, and that's something that has been sung about. Something that's been talked about so many times.
So probably what the students are doing now, maybe it will actually help to get the world and get the government to really come to their aid. Hopefully. And finally, it says Uniben J. Solash Jajubril says, Uniben head of government said to students, education is a privilege, not a right. If they can't pay additional 20,000 naira added to their school fees, they should withdraw. That's the statement. And the picture there says, you won't pursue the leaders of tomorrow, enter street. We hope they don't pursue the leaders of tomorrow into the streets. Yeah.
I think the educational system in Nigeria, we've talked about it so many times.
So many times.
A lot isn't okay.
Yeah.
From the curriculum to the funding to the structure to the manpower, we've got to revamp. We've got to really, really restructure.
All right.
Otherwise,
there's a lot of things that need restructuring in Nigeria.
Having all this happen repeatedly.
Awesome. Anyways, now we'll move over to the second social media buzz. And one thing that is so glaring, you know, a lot of the time we complain about police and their issues and enforcement and all that, but the persons making the news and the rounds recently, even here in Warri, I've heard about it several times, is the VIO, vehicle inspections officers, and they have been on rampage. I'm sorry to use that word, but a man, Ajayi, said, he made a post the other day, and he said, today me and my wife and children, we were assaulted by VIO, female officer for that matter. She jumped into my car, started dragging the wheels with me, and after some time she beat me. She bites my hand rather, and with her teeth. What kind of VIO officer does this? I'm in their office at Jabi. My kids are crying. Now there's a video to see the incident. Look at that inside the car.
Look at my children! Look at my children in this car! Come on, see what their officer has done to me! Look at Jesus! Look at what their officer has done to me! Look at you! Look at my children! Look at my children! Look at my children!
So crazy. So crazy. So crazy. And the question is, what caused this? Like, how did you get to this? And a lot of persons saw it, and we had a lot of reactions. I trust Nigerians when it comes to this.
Before we go into the reactions, there's this thing about, is it uniform in Nigeria? There's this tendency when you're wearing a government uniform to abuse it. A lot of times, some of those people are not trained or well trained.
True.
They don't. I believe some of them don't even know what their real duties are. What is a VIO doing, jumping into a vehicle and, you know, taking over the vehicle and all that? Is that person, is it her job to do that? Is she a policeman or policewoman or whatever that you'd say, okay, probably the person is now a criminal and all that?
Yeah.
What right has she? Vehicle inspection officer, VIO, you have to inspect the vehicle.
Obviously.
Obviously.
Not like you even have a gun or something. What if you jump in and the person is having harm and all that?
I don't know. I don't know. There's something with uniforms in Nigeria. Just name it. Something with uniforms.
All right, we'll take reactions. It says official MC 3310 says, I have said it a million times that this VIO na Agbero in uniform. I get special hatred for them, Sha.
Look at what I Am Dave Chuk says. He says, this is so unprofessional, which is true.
Yeah.
What is even the recruitment process? She acted badly. These VIO people be making people steadily sad in this Abuja harbor.
That's an Abuja resident. Miss Tolioni says, Omo, if I be your wife, I for don't deck the VIO. The VIO. Now, why it good to marry somebody that is as Chris you get? If it was a Warri woman, I don't think she would even take her. The woman was just crying, and I know.
Imagine.
Some Warri women will not even take it.
It's good she had restraint, so
yeah,
that the case will become stronger and clearer.
Yes, true.
Claire Stretch marks, why is the woman crying instead of her to come out the VIO teeth? You they cry. Anyways, I hope the VIO wild animal loses her job. Very unprofessional touts.
Yeah.
That's what Claire Stretch mark says.
So I think you take the next one.
Ihe Kiakbo says, okay, but what led to the jumping? Meet VIO on the road. Who applied brake? Who unlocked your door? Who let her into the car? VIO, in my experience, are the most unreasonable people you would meet on the road. And I blame this on the government too. I've decided that it will be better I bruise one than stop for them. In my opinion, the consequences of bruising one is less than the consequences of stopping for them.
This is a violent man right there. T Bells 07 says, the funny thing is that there is a court judgment stating that VIO officers are not supposed to conduct any inspection on the road or highway but at their office. Now this is what we're talking about, this us not knowing our rights, not knowing the laws, because if we actually know our rights, certain things will not be happening to us.
I think we should get a VIO officer to come here and talk.
Because we'll work it out.
We've got to let people know. And before we do that, we're going to make sure that all that needs to be known about the duties of the VIO, because we need to know. Otherwise, we'll just be oppressing you in this country. You go here, you go there. I told you, there's something about uniform. Book Matrix Photography says, Matrix Photography, it's good to always listen to both sides of the story. It's not always nice to apportion blames when a story is being told one-sided. Of all the people passing on that road, okay, that's what
you are the only.
Yes, of all the people passing on that road, what's
you are the only one a female VIO is harassing. Basically, what it's trying to say is probably we have to find out what happened, what led to that, and that's true. So we have to create a balance as well. Anyways. But that's all we can take for the social media buzz. And when we return, we'll go into the crux of the matter. Stay tuned.
Really excited today. You know what? Because Mama Helen you. I'm telling you.
We love people hugging us. So this helps the body to feel safe.
We are all leaders in our own right.
Who says you can't even find someone who will love you better?
Makes you focus, drives you. It shows you an agenda.
That's right.
Mama Helen and You with Dr. Helen Orish-Jaffer, showing every day at 8:30 a.m. and 6:30 p.m. West African time on the African Broadcasting Network, ABN.
I address the storms of your life. Peace, be still.
Whatsoever is dead in your life tonight, God will revive it.
I said to the spirit behind it, enough is enough.
Experience the raw power of God, the hour of deliverance with Papa Ayo and Mama Helen Orish-Jaffer, showing every day at these times on the African Broadcasting Network, ABN.
Welcome back to Arise Africa. We've come to the crux of the matter where we talk about issues affecting us in the society. Well, the issue of child access to education has been a subject of great debate in Nigeria, in Africa, and the world at large. And in this particular report that was done by the Daily Sun newspaper in the month of August, the Minister of Education, Alhaji Adamu, said the rising number of out-of-school children in the country is unacceptable and must be tackled head-on by all stakeholders. Adamu disclosed this at the 65th Council on Education meeting in Jalingo. The talk was about eradicating out-of-school children phenomenon, and they say it's a tool for the achievement of Education 2030 agenda. And now he says the situation has become more worrisome, going by a United Nations Children Education Fund survey, that's UNICEF, which reports that Nigeria ranks top among countries with out-of-school children. And the Minister of Education noted that the most frightening aspect was that 1 out of every 5, that is every 5 out of school children in the world was a Nigerian, meaning that the figure that was arrived at was about 10.1 million children in Nigeria are out of school. Well, that's really frightening. What is responsible? What do we do? What is the way ahead? Well, today on the program, I have someone whose life, whose work, whose drive is channeled towards child access to education in Nigeria. He has an organization that gives free education to orphans and poor children. And so talking about child education and the challenge of out-of-school children is our guest, Mr. Zion Oshewuge.
Oh, Dan, good morning.
Welcome
Good morning to
Good morning to you.
Your organization is Clever Minds.
Yes.
And you have several schools for orphans.
Yes.
Which is something a lot of us have not really
heard about. Yes.
About it's kind of revolutionary, more or less. I wonder, tell me more about what this is all about. What's your organization? What do you do? What's the impact so far?
It's just going by what you have said. There's this drive we have to reduce the number of out-of-school children in Nigeria. One thing the Minister of Education said before he was reappointed minister is that one thing he failed to do colossally is that he lamented on the fact that more children are out of school in Nigeria than his drive was to reduce it, in his first term in office. But it ended up even being more like higher when he was leaving, and now he's back again and they're hoping to reduce that number. What our organization is doing is that we understand the role of private sector in reducing this number.
Private sector.
Yes. Private sector investment, private sector participation is very key. Government can't do it alone. So our organization's role is to complement government's effort in trying to reduce this number of out-of-school children. But we are very focused, our interventions are focused on rural areas, underserved communities, and then the orphanages. Because we noticed also that a lot of people just go to the orphanages to give gifts and snap pictures with the children. But we did a survey that we realized that most children in the orphanages don't go to school. So it's so important that we not just tackle the number of out-of-school children, we also look at orphan children that are not able to access education, because the world thinks that every child in an orphanage is going to school. Most of the time it's not the case, So basically that's what we do, and we've been doing it for this year makes it 5 years now.
Awesome.
Wonderful.
Awesome.
So how is the impact? Are you getting results?
Results, yeah.
Are you
so
really
far, what will you say, what's the success story like for these 5 years
less,
now?
For the 5 years.
How has it been?
Because there are an interplay of many factors. We're talking about support, you know, how you're able to accomplish,
Get
how far
to
you're
this
able
point,
to go.
exactly.
Okay, so I mean, for us, we currently we have 2 schools, but we have done intervention in about 5 slum areas here in Delta State. Our interventions have affected the lives of over 3,000 children.
Wow.
But
Wonderful.
currently, in our both schools, we are educating 401 children, out of school children that are in our schools, and orphan children that are in our schools. One of our schools is in a Jeba community, and the other one is in Iyara community, another slum area here in Delta State, Nigeria. Our success rate is number 1. We've been able, Iyara community is a slum that has a lot of out of school children. They are not just interested in going to school. So for 1 year, before we open our school this year there, we're doing interventions to reorient them on the need to go to school, reorient parents on the need to take things like birth controls, to be able to give birth to children that they can take care of. So our school in Iyara community has greatly reduced the number of out of school children in Iyara slum, because we've taken over 150, and we're still profiling children. By the end of September, we intend to take 250 children in our school. So the numbers for both schools is over 400, but we've graduated in these 5 years 17 children. Because when we started, obviously we didn't graduate anybody, and then from 2018 we did graduate 1 person, and then this year we graduated 13 people. So the number we've graduated is 17 that have successfully finished primary education in our schools, and then we don't just stop there. Also, we were able to reach out to privileged schools in Delta State here to take up the children that graduate from our schools and offer scholarships to them for the 6 years of secondary education, because we don't just want, because for most parents that are living in the slum, they rather eat than go to school. And every child in the slum, the parent sees them as a tool for supporting the family. So they rather that child joins them to the market to sell fish, to sell gari, than to go to school. So what we are doing with our intervention is not just providing education, but we are also providing a meal a day to these children.
Okay.
Yes, with partnerships from people in diaspora. When we started with a grant from the Tony Elumelu Foundation for $5,000. And then in 2018, the governor of our state, His Excellency Senator Dr. Ato Ifeanyi Okowa, granted our school a license to operate. Remember that one reason why you see the high number, the statistics of out-of-school children in this country is because the country itself has not done any survey. The country itself has not done any statistics. The country has left the statistics to be done by UNICEF.
UNICEF, yeah.
And so the statistics may not actually be...
Well, even if it is, they are not taking into cognizance the number of children that the low-cost schools are educating.
Okay.
You understand? We have in Warri, we call them Akara schools. There are schools in the shanties. There are schools that are just, made with planks and wood and zinc. They are not standard schools. There are schools that are hiding from government. Why are they hiding? Because they know that if they come out to say they want to get a license from government, they might even destroy their schools. So we have not taken into account the number of children that these low-cost schools, these what you call Akara schools, shanty schools, we have not taken into cognizance the number of children that they educate. They educate more children than we are thinking. So if we take that, do you know how many of these Akara schools are in Iyara alone? Just with one woman teaching the whole class. Teaching the whole primary 1 to 5. So what the government is supposed to do is to come in and then help these Akara schools achieve quality education. That's the goal between now and 2030. Help these people achieve quality education. Tell them what to do. Tell them reduce the barriers in getting licenses. Because this is why people are scared of coming out to say, I also have a school. Because most of them have these schools in maybe one small room and it's not standard. And so those numbers are not taken into cognizance.
True.
What UNICEF did is to take into cognizance from their survey the number of people, most especially in the northeast and northwest, that are not going to school. Right?
Yeah.
But we also need to begin. If you take the number that are going to school in the south and the west and all that, we would have maybe between
8 to 9 million out of school, which is still a huge number.
Yes.
But I think that the statistics should be done right.
You know, I've been before we go on, just pardon me. There's this question I wanted to ask, because I want people to, or I want us to have a clear picture of what is happening. Because when you're talking about the school and how you're taking in orphans and all that, let's look at the flip side.
Okay.
What would happen to a child? Do you understand? I want us to look at the other side, like, how life would be for a child if the child does not go to school, does not have the opportunity to go to school.
You see, I am a product of help. I'll start with that. I came into this town a second-class citizen, I'll call it.
Okay.
Because given my circumstances, I should not be on this platform talking on TV today. Given my circumstances and how I was born and the family I was born into and the circumstances that surround my coming into Warri, Delta State, I should not be, I should not have hosted a governor. I should not have gotten a grant from the Tunde Elumelu Foundation. I should not have been meeting with people, because I came into this town to be a domestic servant, a house boy, a house help. I was someone that when I was able to finish secondary school, my father and mother said to me then in Benin, this is the end. This is the end. What will happen to a child that did not go to school? I'll say that shortly, but let me just quickly use myself as an example. What would have happened to the dreams I had? When I came here to be a houseboy, the only thing that I was lucky was that the man they sent me to do houseboy for, that man was supposed to pay my parents. Because poverty cripples your options in life. Poverty makes parents send their children off as bait to eat. So I was shipped off to Warri to be a houseboy so that returns can come to my parents in Benin. But the man refused to pay my parents. The man said to me, I will not pay your parents, I will send you to school. So he sent me to Petroleum Training Institute. He sent me to that school and I got education. Education colors dreams. Education gives hope. Education lifts people out of poverty. Education is a leveler. Education puts you on a pedestal with those that are more privileged than you. At least it's something like an investment, like crude oil. You keep refining yourself every single time you have education. So what would have happened to me if I didn't get the education I got? Because from the circumstances I came out from, I was a very poor child. I was a houseboy. But the man that said to me, you are not just my houseboy, I will send you to school, is the reason why we do what we do today. So, if a child in that slum doesn't get education, you are looking at a breeding ground for criminalities. You are looking at a breeding ground for frustration in the future. Those are the people that will flip back at society to kill the rich, to steal from the privileged. So what are we doing? We are not just giving handouts. When you give a child education, you are not giving handouts. I can go and give food. I can go and give rice and beans in these communities. But how sustainable is going there to just give one pack of noodles? When you give a child education, you have given the child hope for the future, because there's a child right now, just to finalize that question. If this child, there's a child, she's 12 years old in Iyara community. Her name is Success. She has never been to school before. You know what has been happening to her in the house? Because she doesn't go to school, people in that environment have abused her.
Oh no.
So when children stay at home and they are not able to go to school, not of any making of theirs, because of poverty, they are open. That's why we call them vulnerable children. They are open to rape. They are open to abuse. They are open to all form of criminalities. They are open to smoking and drinking and every ill you can think about. Then they begin to form clusters of other breeding ground for all these activities. Success today, 12 years old, stays in a zinc house. The house is made of only zinc in Iyara. Has never been to school. She has 9 other siblings like her. Now she didn't choose to be born into poverty. An uneducated mother gave birth to her. And when the mother was asked, why do you keep giving birth to children that you cannot educate? You know that your circumstances are very, very bad. She said in pidgin English, if person born many, one must get money. One, God fit help one. So she is doing a kind of probability option to say, there's a chance that as I keep giving birth, God might help one. If I give birth to only one, the rate, the chances of success
are slim.
Success today is in our school, Clever Minds Free Primary School in Iyara, and a 12-year-old. We can't put her in primary 1, that's how we'll put her in primary 2. But a 12-year-old is supposed to be completing primary school. But because she has never been to school before, of no fault of ours, because sometimes these parents are so uneducated that they rather have these children sit down at home. Most of them want the children. Private education is not cheap.
Yeah.
And you see the school we built for people there, beautiful schools. So success has a chance at success really now. Success has a possibility that she will grow up to be an educated mother and she might not give birth to as much children. Success has a chance through education, because we're not just teaching them math and English, we're teaching them critical problem solving skills. These are the things that they need to add to the curriculum now. Critical problem solving skills, right? Critical reasoning.
That's what we talked
about this last week.
Yes, they need to add all these things to the curriculum, and we are big on it. We are big on it, and we're teaching them everything they need to know, and we just hope that this will set them on a pedestal, that they will use this education just like me, that former houseboy before. If you see me today, you would never have thought that I was someone's houseboy. Why? Education added color to my talent. Education added color to my gift. Education gave me opportunities. There are places that talent will take you to, but education will shut the door. So I want these children to get this chance at education, and rural-urban migration will reduce if we educate the rural children.
All right, sir. Now, I just want to find out this. Is poverty the only thing that has really made us got into this point? Is poverty the only reason? Because, you know, everybody's, I think we've noticed that there are some persons too that the parents try to even put them in school and all that, but because I was reading and I found out that they have different surveys as well from UNICEF, the ones that told they went to school and then they later dropped out of school based on peer pressure and all those kind of stuff. Now, because for you now, I'm looking at the will I say the issues surrounding getting a lot of persons who, like this kind of story you just gave to us now.
Yes.
They have students in this kind of categories, and then there are also ones that are already smoking, that are already doing a lot of things. So how do you now work with these children? As well, I know I'm missing up the questions a bit, but
so you're talking about causes,
yes,
main
exactly,
causes,
yes, as well.
Aside
poverty. Yeah.
Aside poverty, there are lots of reasons why children are not in school. You know, poverty is really, really one. Because, you see, as I would say, whatever we do, we complement government. Government is doing a lot too. Let's really be frank. Government provides these schools, but the problem sometimes you have 2 government schools in a densely populated rural area, and the classes are overcrowded. And sometimes these students, because of the classes are overcrowded, there's nowhere to sit. Sometimes they don't want to go to school. You know? Yeah. So poverty is one. Another one of them that is so strong that makes children to drop out of school is also lack of zeal from the parents. That's another one. Before we come to peer pressure, you know, community and communal influences also, it really affects, you know, because sometimes it becomes a norm in some communities where there's really no push from the leaders, from the leadership of those communities to tell children to go to school. There was something we used to do that time I saw when I came into Delta State called Edu Mashal, you know, where they go around every morning to check who is not in school.
Yes.
You know, why are you at home? Some of them are already in government schools, but then they run out of the schools and then they go out. So peer pressure is also another one, you know. But why I linked it first to poverty and uneducated parents is the fact that most students that run out of school also, most students that you see today, they just want to make money. They want to eat. Most of them are actually having this peer pressure because I tell you, if you know the number of students that go to schools every day without eating, you will understand why people say, or why we have been fighting, that quality education should not be a privilege. It should not be a privilege for a few set of people. It should be a right for every child. That's why we say that. And that's why if this homeschool feeding program, you know, is done right, that will also be another thing to attract students to school. We need to look for the things that will be attracting them to school. Number one, aesthetics of schools. The government schools need to rebrand it in such a way that these schools have all the things that these private schools have.
Before you go on, just pardon me for a minute. I remember the schools we had many years ago, the same structure, no maintenance, no refurbishing, no new equipment over a period of time. Sometimes it's left for those alumnus or whatever they call them to be able to buy what is needed, or
Old
NGOs,
Boys Association,
or
and all
to
that.
be able to. And most of the time, I don't know whether they have a maintenance culture, whether that's a budget for saying intermittently, let's go the school. I remember some schools in this part of Nigeria, for example, the way they were 20 years ago when some of us attended them, that's how they are today. And that's really, really sad, just like you mentioned. Go ahead, please.
Yeah, and when you said that, it brings to mind that I have volunteered for government to be a volunteer mentor. There's something that the former Commissioner of Education was doing called the mentoring program. As they resume school, we go to schools for the first week to mentor them in public schools. You know, I lauded that initiative, but I thought it will continue. It should be a once a week thing, not a 5 days when they resume thing. No, you know. So you said something now. Number one, maintenance of the school. That's what I was talking about, aesthetics. That is why you notice that in hospitals now, private hospitals don't allow their doctors and nurses to wear white. Especially children nurses. They wear multicolored shirts. Why? Because the colors attract the people. The colors makes the children want to come to school. That's why when you see the new school we built now in ER community, we made it so beautiful, the colors and you know, the paintings, and we're not still done. We're going to put artworks and stuff, because sometimes children just come into school to see beautiful, they like colors, it attracts them. You know, if the government schools can invest, number one, in aesthetics, number two, in continuous you know, maintenance of the school. The principals need to be funded to maintain the schools. Then the people need to be reoriented, because you cannot have a new structure for students that have the same mindset that we can destroy the structure.
Yes.
So this is very important, going the government way. But going the private sector way, private sector investment is key. I said it before, I won't lie to you. Private education is not cheap. It's not cheap. If not for partnerships that we have, if not for people that support our work, how would we be able to provide the kind of education we provide to children today? You know, and then we are in communities working where a lot of things have happened to these children, and then they say, a girl told me one time, he said, one uncle they touch me. But then we will go to the chairman. This person say, uncle they touch him. He say, no. Not be. So many things becomes a norm. Just like going to school, have become a norm in some, not going to school, have become a norm in some communities. So this issue, what can be tackled? Number one, I said one way we can reduce the number of out-of-school children in Nigeria is for the private sector investment, for NGOs, for churches, for civil societies to come in and invest heavily in education. Number two, the sector needs more funding. Number three, we are talking about some people are not in school, and then some are in school but are not learning. Goal 4 of the UN SDG goal for quality education, if you read it very well, the breakdown says that students in school, we are supposed to achieve quality education, and quality education is beyond teaching English and math and writing in school. Although two things we are focused on in quality education for primary level and nursery level is numeracy and literacy, math and English, which is reading and writing. Very, very important. But you must help, we must help, everybody must help these schools that are in the shanties, these government schools, these private schools, whatever it is, to achieve quality education. Because the number of students that are also in school but are not learning, if that statistics is carried out, is also very large, you know. And then we must begin to support initiatives like ours, because a lot of people do what we do in Lagos. But you know, the people that support us in Warri is 1%. 99% of the people that support our work to educate orphans, to educate underprivileged children, are in diaspora, are in Lagos, are on Instagram. Because the people here sometimes, they look at the work and say, You should say. But this is 5 years we're going in. Even if you don't think that this work is worth it, why not start your own?
You know, there's so much to talk about.
Yeah,
I wish
honestly.
we really had more time. You know, but we've really got to go. We've really got to go today. So we want to thank you.
Thank you so
Mr.
much.
Zion
Thank you so much.
Chibuike.
Sorry about my passion.
We see
to
the
do
passion.
this
We
work.
can see it. We can
Evidence,
see it.
it's obvious.
That's why even all the questions we could not even ask you.
I mean, because
we've not scratched the
But
surface.
honestly, we haven't. And we thank you once again for coming, and we appreciate your work.
Yes.
Honestly, I think it's
tremendous.
It's totally mind blowing.
Thank you so much.
And
Thank you so much.
we appreciate it. We appreciate it, and we pray God just help you and replenish all this. And we hope that people hearing this as well
Will be
and
inspired.
help to sponsor. And that's all we are saying today. Whatever it is,
Exactly.
wherever it is that you are, you can do something. You can make a change. You can make a change. Yes, we will wait for government, but he didn't wait for government. So let's try our best and see what you can do. Start up something. Help that boy. Help that girl. Help that orphan. The education of a child is important. When you educate a child, you have educated the world, because truly it's going to give birth and then something else happen. So Chichi,
That's really a wrap from us. We'll be talking again. Hopefully we're going to be back again next week for another time on Arise Africa.
awesome. All right, now so we'll come your way next time. Bye for now.
Bye. Today is going to be all about the Word of God.
Welcome to another episode of Soul Connect.
That you will set the captives free, because the anointing is on you and you'll be a Holy Ghost troublemaker.
Because when you hear something and you say something and you'll do something, you'll receive something.
God can transition you to a place of influence and impact by the power of the Holy Spirit.
Join us on Soul Connect on the African Broadcasting Network, showing live every Thursday at 6 p.m. West African time.
We must go back to the fundamentals and the basics and start to teach people hard work.
You could prepare something like this for your family as
Yeah,
well.
so now that I've learned the process, let me enjoy the process.
If you are not at the table taking decision, then you will be the menu on the table.
One of the way you can actually see opportunities when you begin to see problems.
Arise Africa, showing live Fridays 10 a.m. with repeat broadcast on Saturdays 9 a.m. West African time on the African Broadcasting Network. Have you ever been to IGC, headquarters of Word of Life Bible Church? Please do. Every service is different, powerful and awesome. Wednesdays at 4:30 p.m. Bible study. Fridays at 4:30 p.m. revival service. Sundays 2 services. First service 7 a.m. Second service 9 a.m. Venue, IGC, the International Gospel Center at Jamimoga Road, Warri, Delta State, Nigeria. Praise and worship is heaven on earth. Come and have a taste of the Milk and Honey Choir and the Gospel Melody Voices. Chief host, Papa Ayo and Mama Helen Orishijafor. 2020, I've got the power.